joining me in the studio one of my co-hosts and the guests in the house. My name is Ikokuchidele Kimba, and we're going to be taking you the live updates from the presidential election that's been adjudged one of the most peculiar, unique, and dynamic election in the history of Nigeria. Welcome to the studio, Honorable Roland.
Yeah, thank you very much.
The DG, AtikuLive. And also joining me in the studio is IJ. It's been a battle of, well, I say the throne is actually heated up for the best one to sit on it, and it's going to be tested. And looking at the situation right now in Lagos, because as the first state has been tried to be collated right before Nigerians, and we are looking at what exactly is going to be the turnout for Asiwaju in Lagos State.
I mean, first of all, I want to say that it's very interesting that Lagos is the first state to be collated. You know, exactly. Following all, I thought we would have, you know, started with the states that we had little cases of incidences in, and that we would have started with those ones. I mean, how was it possible that we still had runoff elections in Lagos today, and it was possible for it to be concluded, and here we are, starting with collation in Lagos. Now, also, I mean, the peculiarities are still there. We've seen what's happening in the Southwest. We cannot say that we are surprised. Yesterday, we saw Labour Party laughing. Today, we are seeing APC laughing. I just want to say that the person who laughs last will laugh the best, and we will laugh. But Lagos is very peculiar. We've seen how the elections were mad with thuggery. It's what it is. It's very obvious. And the numbers there, we have cases. I mean, we reported it here yesterday. We have actual cases where ballot boxes were snatched. We have cases where people were disenfranchised, where they were asked to go home and not vote because they were supporting a particular candidate. And that is not the Nigeria that we're looking for. That is not what we want to do at this time. We're happy that people are standing up against that. We also have where people were thumbprinting, where INEC staff were alleged to have thumbprinted, and people who were supposed to vote were actually outside. So, I mean, the numbers in Lagos, we should be taking them with a pinch of salt, if you ask me.
Comrade Roland, I noticed that you've been pinching and itching for words, and I see that I can write on your fingers, I can see that you've voted, and you as one who has actually participated in this election, and how do you judge it? And looking at Lagos as a conceptual topic at the moment, what's your take?
Yeah, first of all, let me start from where she started from. She said yesterday Labour Party was laughing, today was APC, and later today and tomorrow, as it goes on, PDP will start laughing. I can assure you that, because we're doing well. As per now, we've met 25% in 27 states. Yeah. That's a good one. So what we're looking for is just a majority vote. So I think PDP is on the right track. Yeah. Well, what happened in Lagos, let me go back to your question. What happened in Lagos was really shocking. You could see a young man walk up to the polling unit and tell the voters that if you know you're not going to vote for such party, you better take it back. I think I saw one lady. That woman, she's really, to me, she's the hero of this election. She was stabbed close to her eyes. She still came back to vote. Exactly. So I don't know what's the problem with our security agencies. If they can watch such things going on live, people were complaining, they were calling police, but even police was running away. So it was shocking to the whole youth. Next time, I think the peace pact should be signed across the party base with the young people, not just the elders. Because if the elders are signing the peace pact, it's not affecting we the youth, as we the young people. Exactly. So Bishop Kuka and Abu Salami and the Sultan of Sokoto should create a youth peace pact for the youth to sign in our next election. Because what happened in this election, I think I'm not seeing any violence like this in any other election.
I think also it's very condemnable. It should be held in more sanctity. There should be repercussions, and we should actually see people getting punished. I mean, in these elections, we saw the number of people, almost 74 million people coming out to vote, being registered to vote, and we had less of that, you know, people, that number being accredited. And you can trace this back. I mean, we've El-Rufai complained about voter apathy. We can all link this back to this violence. He talked about the woman that was stabbed. Imagine a woman being stabbed, a woman who probably had her children or family, you know, what encouragement does it give to women to come out to vote? To men even. If you're facing that kind of violence at the polling unit, then of course people are not going to want to come out, you know, next time to vote, and it's not healthy for our democracy.
You know, I like the other way of taking it. You're talking about the relation between the women and the men in this election. Most of the callers that actually called in during the program, where we're giving live updates from our correspondents, actually talked about in the north, women population in this election were much. So what we noticed that even in the southeast, where the women of Egbema, Hajj Egbema, actually had to move en masse to one of the polling collation centers, where they actually said one of the polling booths were actually being taken away from their polling units down to another man's house. So you're looking at women actually coming out more in this election. I think most of the CSOs have actually done their job, talking to them, giving them the awareness that more women have to come out in this election and participate. And talking about the violence that marked this election, the one will begin to think. The IGP actually, day first on Friday, had a press briefing with the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, where they talked about they had everything all covered, that this election is going to be peaceful. But looking at Lagos, whereby even military officers were being moved in before the election, and now what we're seeing are people being stabbed, people being assaulted, people being told not to come out, and people being told right there at the election ground that they cannot vote if you're going to actually be putting your tongue to another party. So I'm looking at this. Where does this all stand in? Because you're talking about the women, you're talking about the youth part, and we're looking at in Nigeria whereby we all can be serving in it inclusively. But now what do we have? We have a more disunited Nigeria, and we are looking at an election whereby it's going to be about the youth being more participatory and being more involved in it. Do you see any future for the youth here?
Well, to me, I think maybe from the next election coming up next, I think we should give our women, our mothers, and our younger sisters the opportunity to cast their vote before the men, because what happened right there in Lagos, it shows we don't respect our women here in Nigeria. So I think INEC should look into that, to give the women the privilege to vote before, and we guys can stand for 10 hours, 15 hours. After all, after the vote, most women go home. The guys still remain there to make sure their vote counts.
The votes,
So I will urge INEC to please take this into and see how the women and the ladies and our mothers can vote and go home, and we guys can remain there. But coming to something you said earlier about the violence in Lagos, I think our security agencies in Lagos are compromised. We should take that into, not just Lagos, the Southwest. On our previous elections, the violence in our elections are mostly from the north.
You know this for a fact, or is something that you're beginning to witness once you witness it before?
No, I'm trying to give you a total background of what's going on. Before, our election violence is majorly from the north. Not on the election day, but mostly after the election. Okay. The aftermath. You see what happened in Burundi today? It was after the election, not during the election. So, but in Lagos, it's during the election. So the federal government, the military and the police has to look into that. What is going on? Not just violence, but threatening people on their own polling, on their own right, telling them if you don't vote for such candidate, please leave this polling unit. To me, the whole of Lagos vote should be cancelled. I
would like to add that I think the Lagos violence also stems from the fact that the bullion van politicians were not allowed to operate, in the usual manner. I know that elections in the past have been marred heavily by violence, but when we came to the point in the past where there was opportunity for people to buy votes, it was highest bidder. And I mean, in 2019 elections, we saw Asiwaju with the bullion van. We've not forgotten that incident. And we know how he has been crying over the past couple of weeks over the unavailability of the Naira. And you wonder, and how they said that Buhari was trying to mar his chances of winning through the cash policy. And I asked this question, I asked, how is the unavailability of cash, how does that affect what you have to offer Nigerians? You campaign with what you have to offer, and if Nigerians think it's acceptable, they'll take it. If they don't, it's all good. You're not the person they want at that moment. So he has been crying over the past couple of weeks about the unavailability of Naira, and what we have seen is that failing his, failing to get the cash he needed so desperately to purchase votes from Nigerians, he resorted to violence, and that's what we've seen. We also have a candidate, a House of Rep candidate in Etiosa, Bankole Wellington, who was not allowed to, into the polling units. He was not allowed to cast his own vote, and this is somebody who is running, this election, and it's very unfair. How are we supposed to promote inclusivity? Is that the kind of Nigeria that we want? This is, I said this is 2023. At this point, we need a revolutionary government. We need a government that is visionary, that is all-inclusive, and not just for the young people, but the elderly people as well. We need to come together to carry people along. And to be honest, we did not see that in Lagos. And like you said, I agree. The whole of Lagos election should have been, I don't know why we started with collating Lagos results first. To me, it's too soon. It should be properly audited.
So IJ, since we are already discussing about Lagos and the violence of Malis, I would also like us to look at the figures that votes that have been coming, that's the numbers that have been coming out from Lagos. And one would think with the violence and the monopoly of violence being attacked to one party in Lagos, and the monopoly of actually rigging also into one particular party, which actually they say that they are the ruling party. And one would want to think that this would actually up the figures for them, but in retrospect, you notice that this has not fallen tied to them. Are you seeing that people are not scared of
people are tired? People are tired of APC. People are tired of APC. I don't know what you can imagine what level of suffering someone must have gone through to be stabbed, and for a woman, not a man. A man can be, if a man is scarred in the face like that and he has money, with Nigeria, you can move on, but not for a woman. You can imagine what it will mean for a woman who has gone through that trauma to still come back and want to vote. You have to imagine the level of suffering that APC has put that person on, through, for the person to want to come and vote. So people are tired of APC, and they insist on forcing themselves, down the neck. Nobody wants you.
Let me add to what she just said. I think for the past 9 months or 10 months, we've had fuel scarcities. At the same time, we have the Naira policy, and the longest ASU strike. So if you combine all these, Nigerians are tired. So no matter how you threaten them, they were determined to vote. So the determination in Nigerians, you saw that yesterday, was for them to cast their vote, because we made them understand that the right way to come and shout on the government, to tell the government you're not doing the right thing, is for you to cast your vote, then you have the power to question the government. But when you don't come out to cast your vote, why are you coming out to talk? You're not making it. Like, I was with the guy yesterday. He said he can never have a Nigerian PVC. I said, why? He said, Nigeria, all what we're doing are lies. I said, no. If such people like you are saying this, you are telling other people. Before you know, we'll leave the whole thing into the hand of the wicked politicians. And once they are there with their children, they keep on recycling their children and themselves. And with that, we are going nowhere. So when we come out and cast our votes, is our right, and we're going to choose the right person. Now, let me tell you what happened in the whole southern part of the country. I'm happy what happened. It shows that the southern Nigeria, they've woken up. And it's the right thing to do for you to come out and cast a vote. The southern candidates have their issues because of the political party that are coming from, that is APC. We, the PDP, we're giving a lot to the South. 8 years of Obasanjo, 6 years Jonathan. So it's the right thing for us to take our power to the North. We are not going to be buoyed by the APC strategy to take 8 years North, 8 years South. So we are going this way. They are taking it as a revolution. We, as a party, we are standing with our party. I'm from the South. Atiku is my candidate.
I think we're all from the south here.
Yeah, we're all from the south. I voted for Atiku. And because he's my party man. Not just because he's my party man, because he's the right man for the job. You put 3 of them on the scale, Atiku stands better. Atiku is a better product. Look at his lifestyle. He was a civil servant before he came out to be a politician. Being a politician is a wonderful politician. See what happened with the 5G governors. The governor of Rivers State has insulted Atiku from head to toe. As an elder statesman, he never uttered a word to Wike. So we Nigerians should eliminate from that this is a politician. Not just a politician that understands the system. Violence is not everything. If Atiku himself can keep quiet and watch Wike insult him, say all sorts of things without replying him a word, means Atiku is a replica of a true Democrat.
I know, like that you said that. I mean, looking at the True Democrats, we're looking at Southwest, and we've not really seen that with the whole revolution that is happening in the Southwest. I would like to look at the Godfather factor, you know, that Asiwaju has been in the Southwest, and how he has managed to somehow weigh in on their democracy. And, you know, it's just very funny, the results that we are seeing. And of course, we are not surprised. We saw how in Osun State, they tried even with the governorship after being duly elected. We saw how he weighed in Ekiti State. And I mean, looking at the numbers from Ekiti State, right, where out of 16 local governments in Ekiti State, Asiwaju you know, has won in 12. And normally this would not be a serious cause for concern, except that we know that the people have rejected you. So we understand what all of these ploys have been, and we understand that these are all ploys by the APC really to hijack the state from the common people. We've seen that he has, in the collection that we just saw, he has over 200,000 votes. PDP is following closely behind, and the Labour Party is a distant third. If we're looking at these figures now, we know who the current governor of Ekiti State is. Yeah. So, I mean, these are not shocking figures to us. We know how he has been able to manipulate the current governor, if it can be said, to get this sort of votes. We saw how the former governor of Ekiti State, Governor Kayode Fayemi, he dropped his ambitions just for Asiwaju. So I don't think we're really surprised to see that we're getting such figures from Ekiti State. Like I said, it would be really nice if there's some sort of audit after the elections to look at these results. A lot of people have been dropping results of their polling units on social media. And so we're doing our own independent coalition over here. We're keeping all this, we're keeping receipts, like, you know, they'll say we're keeping our own receipts, so that at the end of the day, we are making also our own independent coalitions. And we're going to watch. I mean, this is not the Nigeria that they used to know. This is a new Nigeria. Everybody, our eyes are open, everybody is watching, and they can be rest assured that we will go to court if need be. If there is any place where we doubt, or any citizen in Nigeria doubts the credibility of the votes in it, they will speak up. People are already starting to speak up. I mean, somewhere in Jos, a coalition officer was not, an INEC ad hoc staff was not allowed to go, a presiding officer was not allowed to go, was detained because they could not transmit the results electronically. Of course, this did not happen in any of the states, but we had in Ekiti where and the voting materials, after voting, they carried the materials off without transmitting because of issues with the IREV and all that, which Professor Mahmood Yakubu has explained the reasons for this. And, you know, we understand what he's saying, but the issues are what they are. Yeah. That results were not transmitted to the site at the time they were supposed to be transmitted.
I would like Comrade Roland to go into this. Professor Mahmoud has told us that the website is secure. Professor Mahmoud, sorry, pardon me there. Professor, you know, we just moving from Jega to this, and Jega is also in an election in the state. So we're looking at what his statement here. He's telling us that the IRF is safe. But we all know how Nigeria plays out. We all know how we don't have to sleep. When elections are on like this, you don't have to close your eyes. You the eyes has to be open. Because I could reflect on one election I was in the station in Bini. We just closed our eyes and opened our eyes.
And a lot of things. I mean, look at all that's happened between last night and now.
Are we truly looking at this, that no one is tampering with the website and INEC is clear on this?
Well, to me, I'm not going to give INEC 100% pass mark because I believe apart from the human error, there's also a systematic failure of maybe internet or something. But I don't know. As she said, definitely people are grumbling. We'll see one or two persons going to court after this whole thing because of the whole system. Because INEC actually assured us that everything.
Exactly.
This is easily the most important, the most important event of the entire year.
I think I saw a video from either Lagos or Ogun State, where the returning officers from each, the party agents, where they were trying to collate the result into the result sheet. What the guy was collating into the result sheet was different from what is on the sheet. What's from the result sheet from the polling unit. So it's a different thing entirely. The party agent, the Labour, the PDP, and whatever were shouting. The guy don't answer them. The guy was just doing what he has to do because he has been paid for it, and he had the protection of those who actually sent him to do what he is doing. So I think if INEC has said that they're going to use the beaver to go through each polling unit, whatever, fine, but I see this go to court.
But I also, this is where we have to call on all party agents to be awake. That is the reason we have party agents. So if I'm at a polling unit as a party agent and the numbers there are not the numbers that should be recorded, of course I'm not going to put my signature on them, even though we had cases where these party agents have been threatened and forced into signing these things. And so that's why the beavers is also good, because you have to take these pictures and upload them, in transmitting these results. We also have at the collation centers that the party agents are there to question any results that, that are not in, that does not tally with what, your party agent has shown you. If there's anything different, you have to question it. So it's really about us as individuals. I mean, there are a lot of things that brazen, done, and it's shocking. But it's time for us to actually, as Nigerians, stand up, as party agents, as ordinary citizens, as stakeholders in this country, because we are all stakeholders. We have to speak up when we see things going wrong. Something as simple as calling in on this. We've had people call in and we've escalated their issues to the right, to the right authorities. Something as simple as that. Something as simple as recording any anomaly and sending it. Something as simple as speaking up, sharing a tweet, posting. Of course, we have to be careful with retweeting and fake news and all of that, reposting fake news. But speaking up and standing and saying that this time around, this is not business as usual. Because we know what the people want. The people have said this is who they want. They've shown it. They've been very clear and they've been very evident. And we've seen that from the north to the south, the love has been consistent. You can imagine when the governor of a certain state, we've seen Ahmed Lawan, the Senate president, in the presidential election, he lost his polling units to Atiku Abubakar. The governor of Yobe State lost his polling units. So we've seen, these things that have made it evident. I really commend the elections in the north, right? Because I've not seen this violence. I've seen it very transparent, very free, very peaceful. And it's really, really interesting that in the south, people have not had the opportunity to enjoy this peace as much as we should. And of course, especially in the Southwest, and it's really sad because the Yoruba people have also come out to make their choice. Let them vote. Let the Southwest vote. Allow them to vote, and let's not try to intimidate people.
Thank you, IJ. Before we leave, I would also like us to touch on a very pertinent issue, which actually borders around the timeline of this process. During the same press briefing where Professor Yakub Mahmoud actually talks about, he was asked severally that when exactly can we actually conclude this election? And there was no clear path to that response. And we're looking at another postponement from this, they were told by 6 p.m. the collection will begin. But now it has been suspended again till
11 a.m. tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah. So are you looking at an extended version of this process?
First of all, I will want my party, which is the PDP, to do everything to make sure will emerge victorious in this election, because in 2019, I was part of the young person that went to court from the tribunal to the appeal to the Supreme Court. I was present in every sitting. To me, I don't think the judiciary has the will to give the right judgment. So we as party faithful, we should go out, protect our vote, make sure the right figures are configured into the system. Because if we don't do that, going to the court, to me it's like a waste of time. I don't see that, because I was there from tribunal to the Supreme Court, I think about around November 2020. So I know what I saw throughout. Is it 2020 or 2019? So I would not like us to go to court. So what I want us to do is for us to make sure we protect our vote in any way. If the collection, if the beaver, if the transmission is not working, borrow them data, let them transmit that result. Or if possible, escort them to the collection center, let them collect it into the nationals. Because at this time around, by the time you start saying, okay, we'll see in court, so we'll court, that is another expenses, that's another waste of time. I don't think my party is ready for that. So I'm talking to all our party agents in all the 37 states, 36 and FCT, to please shine their eyes, because this time around we are not ready to go and waste our time in court.
Okay, ready to shine your eyes.
No, I mean, from my own perspective.
We'll convene again here again tomorrow.
From my own perspective, right? I think that if they are going to do it well, if it's being done well, then it's better to take it. Anything that is worth doing well, and for me, that's the best thing. From here at the Situation Room, we are very closely monitoring these elections, and it's been difficult also for us to access the IRF site. We've also seen that some of the results have not yet been sent in from a lot of polling units. A lot of wards actually have not sent in, and so it is okay. I mean, let's hold on till we get all of the results and we collate. The only thing, like you said, is shine your eye. We're just making sure that what we had at the polling unit translates to what we have at the ward, translates to what we have at the state level, and it translates to, it's the same thing we have at the national level. Any break, anything outside this is where we have to start speaking up. And we're stating it again, that protecting your votes, a lot of people slept at the polling units yesterday. Protecting your votes does not end at the polling units. Protecting your votes goes beyond that. Go out, make sure that you follow whatever result you got, follow it till the end.
Sorry, before at the start of this program, you said yesterday Labour was laughing, today APC, and I told you, I assured you that before the day runs out and tomorrow we'll start laughing. I just got a message now, PDP have started laughing. So it's our time to laugh, and the laughs go to be permanent.
Well, we're happy to have you in the studio, and we actually continue this again when we reconvene again for transmission. We're not shutting down, like you said, but we are taking in all the information that will be coming on from the national centers. And tomorrow we'll be here again to report the transmission. Thank you for coming around.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Ijoma Odumodu.
Thank you.